All right, welcome to the, let's see, oh, we're in June. Welcome to the June 2021 edition of Idea Share. So this is just our opportunity to chat and catch up and see what's going on with your churches right now and how we can just really support each other and provide resources for each other as we figure out how to do disability inclusion ministry, no matter what phase your church is in. I know just looking around, we represent a lot of different phases with our churches right now. I'm in Northeast Ohio, and this Sunday was like, we were back like COVID never happened. So it's been interesting, and certainly, lots of challenges, and I will not lie, there was a good deal of stress on the part of the children's ministry team going into this weekend. So who would like to kick us off with either like how it's going for you or, questions? Yes, Heather.
Hey, how are you, Beth?
Good.
So believe it or not, when we started in March of last year doing Bible Story and Bingo, we thought that it was going to be a 2-week, 2-month type of thing.
We were all
right. We have found that this is one of our greatest attended events during our week. We do hold church, typical church, on Sunday and Wednesday. However, we still do the Tuesday night Bible Story and Bingo for anybody who is not able to participate in person. And that has been great because not only do the kids and adults in our ministry participate, but we're bringing in people from other campuses. We're bringing in people who are not churched. We're also bringing in people with their kids to participate. And one of the greatest things that I heard in the last couple of weeks is that a mom said that my daughter thinks of this as her small group because we do Zoom small group right now. So she does this and she tells everybody this is her small group time. And this one particular family last week when we were on there, I asked her, for prayer requests before we close. And this one particular person said, I have a prayer request. And she said, I don't want to do this like this anymore. I want to come to church. And so she is fully vaccinated now, and her mom feels a little bit comfortable. So we were really excited that the Lord is going to be answering her prayer and she'll be able to join us. So
that is awesome. Really Heather, exciting. Thank you for kicking us off today with that. That's awesome. So this is Tuesday nights, you said?
It is.
So this is 100% virtual still? Like that is that segment?
That content, yes.
All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and say pandemic blessing, because you wouldn't have tried this before and you are reaching, yes. So that is awesome. I know, like at our church, we have families that were not attending before. Like we have new families since COVID. And I just think it's so cool that, we've all been stretched to try new things and we're reaching families in new ways. So
I have a real quick addition to that. During this, we knew that parents weren't going to church and moms, not saying that dads don't participate at home, but moms sometimes feel the weight of not having community, more so because a lot of times dads are going outside the home to work and things like that, especially with families that have special needs, affected by special needs. But our moms were not getting community. And so one of the things that we tried, which is way out of my comfort zone, is to start a mom support group. And that we did on Saturday mornings, the 4th Saturday of the month. And we just started out with Diane Kim's book, Unbroken Faith. And so that's what we started with. And we probably have about 6 more chapters of that. But it's just a really good idea starting point for us. It's brief chapters, and then it allows us to just kind of talk about it. And then we have enough time for like a roundtable discussion for anybody that's having issues or difficulties, or, hey, I need a neurologist, or I need a dentist, or whatever. It's just been great. So
That's wonderful. So is that 100% virtual as well?
it's not. It is actually a hybrid.
Okay.
So we are doing it here at our campus, and we reach other campuses as a result. Because it's a smaller group, they feel a little bit more comfortable coming together as a group. So we're reaching those campuses, but also the hybrid allows us to still have those people who are not quite ready.
That's wonderful. And I'm seeing a lot of head nodding, because a lot of people that are participating right here have been trying hybrid for the very first time. Like, we probably weren't even familiar with the term before, and are finding great success. So I'm applauding all of you who have tried this. And Heather, thank you for sharing. This is really great.
Certainly.
Let's see. Yeah, it looks like Tony wants to reach out to ask more about what you're doing. So maybe, Tony, I think you can message privately with Heather and see if you guys can share your info. Bronwyn has her hand raised. Where is she? There she is. Bronwyn.
I was trying to be more orderly this morning than I usually am. Heather's, praises and stuff, it got me thinking about, what, we're still out here in California. We don't know what we're doing. Whereas as of June 15th, which I guess is next week, they're like, oh, you can do things without mask, or like COVID. It's like weird. We don't know. But for church, this whole year, we committed to doing children and youth and inclusion ministry outdoors. We have the facility and mostly the weather to do that. And we have decided as a children youth ministry staff to continue that for the foreseeable future. And that has really brought in, I think, kids and families who would not otherwise be able to access church because it is outdoors. I think a lot of families feel safer that way. The kids have done great, and the youth have done great, like wearing a mask, and the volunteers are wearing a mask. So we have found that's have been a really fantastic thing. We have an on-site preschool that is fully inclusive, and next year, I think we are enrolling the highest number of children with IEPs or disabilities than we've ever had, just based on the staffing. We hire inclusion aides to support them. So if you know someone in California looking for a job, I know where to point you. We need some more. But I think just because we've been doing preschool outside, so I think just doing ministry in a different way, being kind of forced to do that has been really great and made it much more accessible. We've been able to host outdoor respite. A lot of unchurched families have been able to access that, and we host individual families at a time, like one family at a time. That's been pretty fantastic. And then last January, well, whatever January that was, before COVID, I had an intern, and she got to do about 2 months of real life ministry before COVID happened. But since then, I took a page from Doc Hensley's book here of interns, and we just celebrated our 7 interns that completed the internship from this last year, all of it in COVID. There are 6 interns starting for summer. So it's been pretty cool to see that unfold. And so thank you to you guys on this screen who have been a little bit ahead of us in terms of reopening or doing things or just different ideas. It's just been really neat to see how God has, moved in a really tough time. But Beth, yeah, I would, whenever it comes to the time that we're doing church, as COVID never happened, I would say we would also have a lot of stress around that. So I'm feeling your stress, even though we're not even there, and I wasn't even at your church on Sunday.
Yeah.
Based on where we've been. So yeah, I think, so that's what I would say. And I fully expect after this, the Meekins to have like some amazing thing they've done. So
I know, right? That's what I love about this group. First of all, we're all like, sometimes some of us are ahead of others, but then those same people are ahead of us, and it works out so well. I think. Yeah,
and then Sylvia's gonna talk about how she's like reaching 1,000 people.
I know, right?
So
without stepping foot in her building, right?
Yeah. So I just wanted to get mine out of the way because I know there's people who I expect to have amazing things. So, but thank you guys to those of you who have been a little bit ahead and have given me some inspiration on how to make it work.
Well, thank you for sharing. And like I said, even though maybe some of our churches are ahead in opening, you've certainly been ahead of us on other things, and we're learning from you. So thank you. Yeah. All right, Meekins or Sylvia. Oh, wait, Barb has her hand raised over here. Barb has her hand raised. Barb.
So where we are, our church this week just went, you don't have to wear your masks anymore for the first time. And we've been open for about almost a year, on site and online. So this week was just like normal, like it was packed out, and we had more kids in our room than we've ever had, and it was crazy time. And so anyway, where we are is we're now in the transition from the things we started in the pandemic, people have really liked, but now it's time to add back in what we used to do. So we're in that tension of figuring out how to get more people recruited or get the energy to do it all. And my specific question is, before the pandemic, we had a buddy ministry where the kids went to their classrooms and they had a one-on-one buddy. During the pandemic, we went to a separate classroom for the kids enrolled in our ministry because we didn't have enough volunteers. Now we're gonna look to offer both, have one service be a classroom for kids with high needs, and then the second service be a buddy ministry for kids that can do that. My question is this: we have found that some of the parents love the classroom and some of the kids love the classroom who don't need that now that we have both options. Does anyone have advice for how to talk to the parents and vice versa? We have 3 kids in the classroom who need to stay in the classroom, but their parents, I think, may want them to do the buddies, even though that's not really the best fit. How do we guide them?
Doc has his hand raised to answer that question.
Yeah, so I've dealt with a lot of families in this situation. Basically, I just sit there and tell them that we want to help their child get the most out of the education and help them to have a personal relationship with Christ. And at this time, them being in a segregated room like this is not the best for them on their learning. Plus, they're not getting the most. We really want them to be able to get that peer-to-peer help as well. And they really need that. Most of these kids are getting that at school. And when you just sit and explain that and tell them how much they can thrive and how much more they can learn and do better in those other classrooms, they'll actually do a lot better. When you sit there and explain this classroom is for our more severe, and so the material you're going to be teaching is actually going to be maybe at a level that is a little lower than that they need. Just being honest and with them, they'll usually be, oh, I didn't understand that. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. But once you really get into talking through the peer-to-peer, how you're helping them to get the most out of it, and you want them to have those great relationships, build those relationships, not just with the individual, with the peers, with the teachers, everyone else, they'll do a lot better. Elizabeth probably has more she can jump in too as well.
Yeah, I wanted to comment on the flip side of those that you think, they want to be in the buddy ministry, but aren't, and you think that they may benefit from the classroom. I would just challenge you, maybe try it for a few weeks and see what happens. And it hasn't been going well.
Well, we did it for years, and like one girl would strip her clothes off. I mean, these are kids that would get so incredibly overwhelmed by the regular classroom. When we put them in the separate classroom, it was like a different kid. They were so much happier. They did so much better. And their parents, I think, at this point may understand that, because it was just so stressful for this little girl to be in the classroom with all of the noise and all of the sensory stuff, that even with everything we could try to do, it was painful to watch, to be honest.
Heather has a comment, and I have a comment too. Heather?
Yeah, what we do is sort of a hybrid approach, and we do large group, small group here. That's the format of our worship. So when we can, we include children as much as possible. Even if we have to use fidgets or headphones or other types of interventions, we will do that. Even if it's like on the back row, so that they can get their wiggles out back there and they don't have to do it in front of everyone else. That has worked really well. And then when we are able to integrate separate them in that way, then it's easier to separate them. If they're having a rough day, and everybody does that from time to time, we can always just pull them into that inclusive classroom, or we can put them in self-contained, whichever is better. And it seems to have that flexibility. It not only helps them, but also the parent, so that they know that whichever environment is going to be best for them for that particular day, then that's what we do. It worked well this weekend with a little boy. He's been with me, but we did promotion Sunday this past week, and it was great because normally I almost have to sit on him to get him to stay still. And he was, I asked 3 of the leaders, can we just try this weekend? He's been with me for almost a year, and everybody in there was going to be brand new, and everybody was going to have the wiggles, and everybody was going to need redirection. So I thought, you know what, worst case scenario, I just pull him back out. He did great. He did great. And it was great because he was in there with peers. So here, we did a lot of our virtual learning. So everybody's kind of like on that same level. So even though he's going to first grade, I retained him for the purpose of church and put him in with that kindergarten group, and he did great.
Thank you. Yeah. And I would say, you always aim for the least restrictive and most inclusive environment. And there might be seasons where that's different for a particular child, just because of, their anxiety level. I think a lot of this has to do with like their anxiety and how that like manifests itself in the Sunday school environment. And so, having that conversation, whether it's you think that they would excel in the grade level classroom, or you think they would be more successful in the, like a more sensory friendly environment. And I do use that term, sensory friendly environment, because in my, like self-contained or whatever you want to call it classroom, I can control some of those things that are a little bit more difficult to control in the grade level classroom. So Bronwyn is sharing that they also have a few kiddos who participated in a classroom that was a grade or 2 younger than their actual grade with a buddy / supports, and it went really well. Yeah. So I think, I think it's also, if parents aren't familiar with, what the options are, maybe even if they get the chance to see their child in like your more sensory friendly environment and how much they're thriving, they can see like, oh yeah, that is a good option, or, vice versa, whatever. But yeah, I think that's we probably all had those conversations at some point, I'm guessing. Diana says they always do self-contained when elopement is a safety concern. Yeah, and that's a really good idea. Like safety is like the first priority. So yeah, and a lot of times those classrooms are a little bit easier to manage that process. Yeah.
This child is an eloper and a clothes stripper when she gets anxious. So it has been hard in the big room, and we did it for years and did the best we could, but it was just stressful for everyone.
Mm-hmm. And for the child. I mean,
it was extremely stressful for her.
Yeah, and we don't want that to be what their Sunday school experience is.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk to the parents and see what they think, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
All right, who else has something to share?
I can go. Hi, my name is Patrick Collinsborough. I'm from Rochester, New York, and work with Heritage Christian Services. I'm part of the spiritual care team there. I'm also a priest in the Episcopal Church in the Diocese of Rochester here. And our Episcopal churches are mostly all hybrid and are in the process of opening up, and people are able to attend church and also lead church without masks if they want. Masks are optional. Mm-hmm. So the restrictions are much less strict. And so that's happened within the last 2 to 3 weeks. I can say as a priest, I appreciate having the option to not wear my mask when I'm preaching, because it's much easier to preach without a mask on. And so it's been great to have the churches starting to reopen. Individuals I support at Heritage Christian Services, which is an agency with group homes and day programs. Individuals are able to go to church in person if they're able to, if they feel comfortable to, and if they have support staff that will take them, or folks can still watch on the computer. So it's, very, very much more open than it was, but I think still a ways to go. And personally, I'm still getting used to the idea of things opening up more. I actually went out to lunch twice this past week, which was to a restaurant, which was a new thing for me.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how much, like, when I look back 3 weeks, we were in such a different place, and like how much life can change in just a matter of weeks. And even, just in the various regions that we represent here, like when we come back on, well, we're not doing an idea share in July because that's the first Monday is like July 5th. And so, but when we come back on in August, I mean, things will be, well, Sylvia, I'm looking at you, but things might be really different by August. So, yeah. Meekins, go ahead.
So I'm sitting here really excited about this whole opening up thing. So even though our church has been open for a long time, probably that year time frame, there's still been so many restrictions. You can't have food in your classroom, you can, and a million other things. So, but what's really been fun is that our parents, our main focus is on parents, and our parents are so eager to be in person all over the place. So I sat down the other day and we have a little Facebook group, and I wrote in there and I said, okay, guys, what do you want to do? Okay, the world is opening up. We have all kinds of less restrictions than we used to have. So what do you want to do? And there was one family after another that said, we can open our house, we can open our pool. They're just like eager to have everybody over. They're eager to go places. Let's go to a restaurant. Let's do mom's night out at a restaurant. And dads are a little slower. They haven't gotten going yet, but
we gotta push them.
Yeah, we do. But it's so cool because there's like this freshness and eagerness for life. And Bronwyn, I'm sorry, but I'm praying every day that can be your what you can express to us soon, very soon, like in August when we get back together again. You can tell us how California opened up, and you can share with us all the in-person, not outside only things that you can do. But I do pray for you.
Hey, we're serving prepackaged snacks now, so we're on our way. We're well on our way.
It's good. It's really good.
Progress.
The other thing that has been a real blessing is that as things open up, there are still families who can't come for whatever reason. Okay, so there's a family in our life group, and our life group, I've shared with you guys, it kind of burst through this whole support that you guys have given us. Our life group has some special needs families, and it has some non-special needs families in it, which I love because we wanted to build community that could love one another and see that we are more alike than we're not, and that, we have the same basic needs and we can support one another. So one of the things that's been a real blessing is that we do have a hybrid Sunday school class or life group class on Sunday mornings. And the one family that has, bless this family, they have 6 members and 4 of them have autism, and that's including the dad and 3 of the kids. So that's a lot that they're dealing with on a daily basis, and they can't always get to church. And before, they just had to miss out on stuff. But now that they're part of our life group, they are there
every week.
They are, even when they had COVID, they were there in the middle. They would come to us through Zoom. So how cool is that God has just opened that door? And so I can't imagine that we'll never do hybrid again. We'll always have some kind of way. Hybrid, yeah, I didn't say that right, did I?
You got it.
So that's why I have him. So yeah, so this is, I love, Beth, your term pandemic blessing. There have been so many pandemic blessings. And now that we're able to go even, more steps forward in going back to what we're used to, it's not the same. It's better because we're so eager for that kind of fellowship that it's just like the church has been refreshed. It's like the plant that's been watered, that's been wilting a little bit. So anyway, now I'll stop talking.
No, that's great. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it is. And definitely like this feeling of like renewal. On the nuts and bolts side, the children's ministry team here at my church has used this like next phase. We've used this to really rethink everything we do, like every safety procedure, every training thing, every like rule and regulation and how we do things. Like we're kind of starting from scratch, that was part of our stress before this Sunday morning, but getting all that ready. But this is a good time to really think through some of those nuts and bolts things that aren't, they're not exciting, but they're necessary. So, as everybody ramps up to, whatever normal is going to look like, this is a good opportunity to be thinking through some of those things, which leads me to my next question. How many of you have like an adult Sunday morning Sunday school or small group or whatever you want to call it? Okay, so, and Patrick, I'm interested in what you have to say about this too. So for folks who are coming from group homes, does your Sunday morning, whatever that adult experience looks like, do you have people like check in like you would for a children's ministry Sunday school program? Nobody does? Heather does. Okay. So let me just ask my question. This is like very specific and selfish of me to do this, but here's my question. So part of the Sunday morning Sunday school here at my church, so the special needs ministry is part of children's ministry, but it does include this adult Sunday morning Sunday school. Our children's ministry checks in using CCB, which is a church database. And so that's how our attendance and all the numbers and all that. But for an adult who is maybe being brought here by the aide from their group home, is there like, for children's ministry, there's a parent in the building, so they have the pickup tag, blah, blah, blah. Do you just not worry about that for the adults that are part of your Sunday morning? So Heather, you just don't worry about it?
No, we do.
You do worry about it. Okay, can you tell me what you do?
Yeah, we are in the secure space of kids ministry. So that is intentional for a lot of different reasons, but the main reason is for their safety. Some cannot participate as independently as others. So it's really important that they are in a secure space. So if that is necessary where their parent comes or a caregiver comes and drops them off, even if it's a companion caregiver, they still have to have that tag. And then they have to have somebody meet them. We do have a visitor form though. So if somebody does come, they can participate that way. But we also have ours online so that they can complete it before they get here.
Okay. Okay. So, but you are requiring the parent pickup tag?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I'll echo that. When I was doing my adult ministry, we did the same thing. We had a couple group homes, one that actually brought a bus and dropped off all theirs. They actually printed off all their own tags, and then bus driver held on to it, and then he would come pick them all up afterwards. Parents would do that too. We treated it all the exact same way, have that check and balance system there. With that, just for the safety, we would treat them all differently, but still we used that for our protection and make sure everyone was checked in and out. We did not allow them to just leave when it was time either. A family member had to come and pick them up, just as if they were in children's ministry. We did not want them roam anywhere. And even if they had a care attendant that would bring them, they would come and bring it. And if they don't, if it's a different person, we would tell them it's okay to take a picture of the tag and then just bring a picture of it. So they didn't have to have the necessarily the exact tag. They could show us a picture of the tag, because we had that a lot where maybe change of shift happened during the service.
Right.
So it wasn't the same person. So if they would take a picture, send it to the next person on duty, and they would come and then show us the tag, and that would work. Now, what we would do though is, like our group home, we would put them all under the same household. So they were able to, check them all in together. So then they just had one security code for all 12 or whatever we had.
Okay. Patrick, do you have any insight on this with your work with group homes?
A little bit. As far as the specific security practices for individual locations, I don't have insight on that because I am not usually on site with folks.
Right.
I know that it's important that everyone, each of the individuals we support, we follow their supervision requirements so that we know where they are and how much time they can have alone in the community per se.
Mhm.
But safety and security is extremely important. So I support any security measures that are in place.
All right. I appreciate that, because I don't want to create this obstacle, but we do have some of these procedures in place strictly because of safety. And I want to make sure, I'm striking a good balance between doing things the right way and safely and not making it extremely difficult for, people coming with like a caregiver instead of a parent. So Diana says they've had a hard time getting group homes to actually bring clients to church. Yeah, and I'm running into this a little bit, and it's also my understanding that the workers are supposed to remain with clients like in the building if they're on duty, but I don't know that that's the thing I need to get involved with. So anyway,
that's not your job to figure out. That's up to them. Usually the group homes that I've worked with, like that bus driver, he would just sit up in our foyer and read a magazine, or something. And other smaller group homes that we had where they bring a carload, they would usually stay on. I did have one group home that they didn't stay. And then I also had one other group home that they actually wanted to stay and help volunteer. So we put them through our volunteer process,
right.
And background checks where they could do that. But it depends. But most of the time, depending on the group home, they do require that they stay there. But that's not for you to figure out. I leave that on them. You've got enough on your hands to, deal with than having to work with their dynamics and their rules.
Okay, well, I appreciate all the insight. Yeah, Heather.
Can I ask how you guys go about even requesting or notifying or inviting? We have been shut down with they'll draw the blinds. We can't get in there. We've done a basket of cheer where we would bring a coffee and donuts and a basket full, of just we'd love for you to come and join us. This is who we are. And, it's non-denominational and all. We just cannot get in the buildings.
Yeah. So I'll go first, but then I bet Patrick will have something and maybe some others will share. But the one particular person I'm talking about has been with us her entire life, and she just happens to live in a group home now. So that's, but that being said, this year, because of COVID, so pandemic blessing, we were able to establish some relationships with some of the local group homes for Night to Shine, because we actually went and delivered things to the group homes. Now, I need to go back now to those group homes that we've kind of established this relationship with and see what we can do about, inviting their residents here or doing some kind of either virtual or in-person thing there. So Night to Shine, I think, is going to be, a good intro for us. But Patrick, do you have anything to? I'm sorry, I keep picking on you, but I know this is your bailiwick. So.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I would say my experience with the group homes for churches that have come in and actually lead like a Bible study within the group home, or the churches that invite group homes to come over are churches which already have one of the people who live in the group homes who attend the church regularly, and so that relationship is built that way. I know of one or two groups within the agency where churches actually come in, and then also a number of our homes are actually built on land that is donated from the church, so it's literally right next door. So that is how the relationship is built there.
Excuse me.
Another great
Yeah,
way
yeah.
to kind of connect, and that worked. Several churches I worked with through the pandemic, trying to get into them since they couldn't go or do anything. Talking to other members in the church to see if they had any old iPads laying around that they'd be willing to donate, and then because trying to do anything virtually, most of these group homes don't have computers, don't have iPads to do anything. So we were able to help get iPads donated that we then went to the group home and said, hey, we want to donate this to your home. But with that, we want you to be able to promise that with this, you will do the virtual events with us and that then opened the door to then allow things further to happen. And so they're very open when you're bringing something like that to them, because they can do a whole lot of other things with it, but most of the time they don't have the funding to get anything like that. And you'd be amazed how many people have old iPads laying around just collecting dust. And a lot of great things can be done. And it doesn't have to be, it could be, any tablet. But put that out to your church, and you may even have people that say, forget giving you an old one, I'll buy a new one. There were a few churches that there was a business that offered to buy 5 brand new iPads for 5 different homes. So that's an easy way to jump in and help out.
Yeah, I was gonna say I agree with Doc, because I know in the group homes, especially when the individuals weren't able to go back home to visit with family, having the opportunity to visit virtually with folks was really important. And oftentimes having the phone or having the tablet just wasn't available. So to have them be available is really important.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for sharing those ideas. I want to mention something from the chat. So Bronwyn shared that they've had good success with inviting youth group homes to virtual events like movie nights and that type of thing. Also, they're trying to find creative ways to involve them in their hybrid summer camp. So that's good outside the box thinking there. I like it.
I worked in a group home before for a few years, and I know some of it, there's a lot of staffing challenges to getting people places. And so especially, out here we have, the ones for youth and kids age. So it's a little bit different. So I know, if you're, some of it may be that they want to come, but the staffing is just a nightmare with that, like getting people, because maybe not everyone in the home can come or wants to come or is able to come, and they have to have certain ratios, especially after the younger folks. So I would encourage, some, like I said, we've had some great success. We invited them to movie night. And then for our hybrid summer camp, there's some online components, some in-person components in small groups. So we're trying to do that. So speaking as a former group home employee, staffing is often a straight up nightmare. So getting someone to church, especially on the weekends. So getting someone to church might just be a mess.
Yeah, and I ran into that this past weekend. So the individual who no longer lives with her mom, but lives in this group home, and the individual's about my age. But I talked to the mom, and I guess a lot of times on the weekends, the caregivers call off. And so they're scrambling to find, other caregivers who that's not their normal gig to, to bring the individuals to church. So I get that staffing is definitely an issue. Yeah. All right. Oh gosh, look at the time. Okay. What else do we have going on? Questions? What are you up to these days?
I was just gonna add
Diana, go ahead.
to the group home thing.
Yeah.
We in San Antonio do have, as part of our transportation system, our bus, it's called Via Trans, and they do, you have to schedule in advance. It's really not user friendly at all, but our church has worked really hard to make sure that we have a spot for them to bring clients in. And it can be frustrating, but it's another option if you are in a city that has public transportation for those with disabilities. The downside of it is we have had people that have gotten stuck at our church. And so it's not something we like super strongly encourage, but twice at Night to Shine, we had people use the public transportation to get there and not get picked up. And so we were then, even though we had emergency numbers on, on all of their forms, trying to get everybody. So just throwing that out as a somewhat warning, I would say we're going to continue to do it, but it comes with the fact that, just like Doc was saying, you've got to have all that information, even on a Sunday, because if you miss it by a slot, then Via Trans says they don't come. Like you weren't standing at the curb at the time, you missed it, we're not coming back for you.
That's
Tickets too. The church pays for the tickets. So, that's just throwing it out there. I don't know if any of you have any experience with that or not, but
that's a good info right there. Marianne is sharing in the chat that their group serves to pack food at the local shelter, and they've had success inviting group homes to assist in service off of church campus. So that's an interesting idea for you there too. Cool. And they use that as their in. I just want to, I'm looking at you, Sylvia. Are you surviving the cicadas? I want to know that.
OMG is all I can say.
My brother and sister both live kind of where you live, and they keep sending me videos of just the noise.
Just this morning on my 5-mile walk, as soon as I stepped out the door, one flew on my back. Well, that almost incited a naked experience. And then as I was almost on my way back and I was about to cross a street, one decided it was going to dive bomb me. And I stepped off of the curb and a car was coming. And the lady stopped, and all I could do was laugh, because she was like, it's not that serious. It is that serious. It really is, because they are ugly, they are big, and you don't know whether it's a male or a female, and it's making noise or not. It's crazy. I just got back from Tennessee. Tennessee did not have any. I was so excited to be able to do my walks in Tennessee, but they are all over the place.
Yeah, my sister said she heard a noise and she looked down and they were mating on her shoulder. Two of them.
I know. It's horrible. It's horrible. But anyway, aside from the fact that it's 90 degrees and cicadas all over the place, we are surviving.
Okay, good.
No, church is not open. We are not exactly sure when, because though we as a church have probably offered vaccines to probably about, I don't want to say how many, maybe 30,000 people in Prince George's County. That's only a small percentage of the population in Prince George's County. And because we have had a very high mortality rate here, our pastor is not willing to open the church until everybody is ready to come back. And I'm not sure where I am either about coming back in spite of the fact that I just got back from Tennessee. My oldest granddaughter graduated, and it was a different kind of experience. And I'm now trying to recollect myself from the experience of getting on a plane and all that kind of stuff, and my son in Tennessee has seven children. So you can imagine how many people were there to celebrate this first granddaughter's graduation, that almost left me traumatized.
Yeah.
So
it's a weird thing. I mean, we're all in different phases and it changes so quick. It's weird. I mean, yeah, it's.
And I'm just enjoying the fact that we moved from having one adult person in Sunday school to now consistently have 9 individuals in Sunday school. And one of the participants live in Florida, and a couple of the others live out of state. So it's a different kind of experience for us, so that even when we go back into the building, we will still be doing hybrid ministry. And we're just trying to figure out what that's going to look like in terms of how do we bring everybody back in. Our parents are zoomed out. Of the younger kids, particularly. The older population has picked up. The younger population, for certain activities, not necessarily Sunday school, but anything during the week, is like they don't want to have anything to do with it. And I thank you for the book suggestion, because I've been trying to figure out what I can do with my parents to kind of help encourage them and give them some support, because I'm not so concerned about the children having emotional and sensory meltdowns. I have parents that are having major meltdowns, and some of them that I'm on the phone with for like 3 and 4 hours, that I am concerned that they're not going to make it through the night. That's how serious it is in terms of how they are not managing, because I can't say that they are managing, because they are definitely not managing the process. I sat in on a parent conference this morning with a parent who is just so done with school. She's ready to pull her son out of school, period, even though we got him into non-public placement. She's not even satisfied with that now, because it's not connecting. It's not working well for the parents. So I'm just at a place where, okay, as a ministry leader and a support person for families, what do I do? How do I get re-energized to be able to keep them energized? And not just the parents, but now the volunteers, and making sure the volunteers come back. And, you know, even as we think about beginning to open up, what's going to be there for everybody, and really looking at the mental health issues, because it's not so much now of connecting with people, but everybody has PTSD.
Yeah, it's no small thing. And honestly, you know, again, we're representing all different phases. And as I talk to my brother and sister that live in your area, like we just can't discount the toll that this has taken on individuals and on families. And things will lift, but I mean, it takes a while to get, I mean, like Sylvia said, she's traveled and now is kind of like recovering from that whole, like being back to normal. I mean, it's it's the weirdest thing. It really, this whole thing has just been so, I mean, we've all been through it. We're all in different places, and it's just, it's going to take a while. Yeah, it's going to take a while. And boy, we will just continue to pray for each other, pray for Sylvia and the families that she's serving with. I mean, it is a tough road for parents and for families for sure. Yeah, Julie.
I was going to tell Sylvia that we've been invited to speak at the Awana conference in PG County in October. So hopefully, because we're trying to figure out when to come to see our children who live in Maryland, but they're all the way up in Hartford County. And so they're a little bit looser with things there than they are in PG County and Anne Arundel County, where my other daughter is, our other daughter. And, but we're trying to figure out that when do we go back and visit? You know, we were supposed to go there 3 times in 2020, and now here we are. We haven't seen them in person. We've done all this virtual stuff for way too long for family, like you did with your Tennessee folks. So it's, yeah, we're trying to figure that out. But hopefully by October, maybe you can come to Awana and we can see you.
Well, tell me where it is and I can decide.
Yeah, well, I don't know the name of the church right now.
I'll email you.
Yeah, we can let you know. It's
Okay.
in Bowie.
Brodwin, I can send you some pictures of those bugs. Let me tell you.
They're not.
I've been hearing all about these from my Midwest, and beyond friends. I'm like, what are these things? I have no idea.
Yeah, we don't have them here, or at least we haven't yet. So
Our granddaughter loves them. She's 5 and she has friends that are cicadas, and there was one that even come out of its shell, and she saved the shell in case they wanted to come back and get their clothes back on.
oh my goodness. Oh boy, Doc.
I just wanted to kind of give an update on things. Last month we finally got to be back in person. We had our first in-person respite again. So first one for us in 18 months. So it was long overdue. It felt amazing to actually be there again. Just like everyone else, we're having a hard time getting volunteers for it. So that's our biggest challenge for it. We're going back though. We're going to be doing the monthly. We got our next one here in 2 weeks. So we're excited with that. We've got our camp coming up as well. We're doing in-person camp and we sold out. We got 100 campers that we're doing in July with that, and now trying to work on getting volunteers with that. So very excited about that, and starting to feel like we might be starting to get back to normal with that, but we still got a long ways there. But I also want to remind everyone, we're going to be doing a virtual camp the 26th to the 30th of July. And so want to welcome all of your ministries to that. You know, if you don't have anything planned this summer, that's a low hanging fruit where, let us do all the work for you. And then we'll have a hour Zoom time meeting every day. That would be just for your group. You can jump on if you want to see how it's going, but we'll have a team of volunteers running everything. But it would be a great way that you can offer something to your families if you don't really have much going on this summer or trying to figure out what to do. But let us help you. If you want more info, you can email Elizabeth and myself at info@soarspecialneeds.org, and we'd love to be able to help you out moving forward with that. But excited to finally be getting back in person. And we're also getting ready for our Wonderfully Made conference, where Elizabeth and I are working hard. We've got a ton of speaker proposals, and we're working on both our in-person and virtual ones with that. So we're starting to see things come back to normal, which is exciting.
Awesome. Thank you. Heather, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Doc publicly. He and I connected after one of our Zoom calls before, and we were trying to determine what was the best way to go about having a special needs camp. And so this is going to be the first year that we've done that. And so we've actually opened it up. There was some discussion whether we were going to do that for adults and students or for kids. And we decided that we're going to do both. Kids kids who are able to go with a buddy, which we call a sidekick, they will be able to do that. So if they're more of an inclusion classroom at school and have a para, that's the route that they're going for that group. And then we are actually going to have our students and adults in more of a self-contained environment. They'll participate in all of the worship and activities and things like that, but their small group activities and some of their activities outside and things like that are adapted. And they actually, we have like a ice cream truck that comes around called Kona Ice. They're going to come around. And then there's another one that we have a baseball team, and they're going to come here, and the mascot of the baseball team is actually going to come and be with them and play catch and stuff like that, take some photos. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun. And then, you know, they'll be able to do all the inflatables and stuff too, just like the kids. So thank you very
cool.
much.
And what month is that taking
That's
place?
going to be in July. So it's July 8th, 9th, and 10th. It's a little bit shorter because we're doing it on our own. We normally do it through a ministry called Camp in the City, but this year we're doing it on our own on all of our campuses.
Awesome. So we are going to have a lot to report back on when we
In
meet
August.
again the first Monday in August.
Right.
I never identified when we kicked off this meeting today. I'm Beth Golick from Key Ministry. A lot of the examples I give, I'm also the director of the special needs ministry at my church here, but and Catherine Boyle, who is our director of mental health ministry, was on. Her internet booted her off so many times. She finally texted me and she said, I give up. So that's why Catherine is not on currently. But anyway, I want to invite you to later today, I'm going to be putting a couple more things on the events page of keyministry.org. We have a roundtable coming up on the third Wednesday and a mental health webinar coming up on the fourth Wednesday. Both titles I'm blanking on at the moment. So check the events page later tonight or tomorrow and make sure you're checking those out because they're going to be good. Whatever they are, they're going to be good. All right. Thanks, everybody. I will get this recording up later today and I will see you in August. Thanks, guys.